It's a question I get asked all the time. Should I start it on myself? Should I choose a franchise? How do I decide which one?
The thing that really helped me make the right decision is the process that I went through with a coach. He really spent time digging into my values, my mission. One of the misconceptions that people have about mobile grooming is that
Meet Glenn Ferron, the franchise owner behind Woofies of Space Coast, where grooming vans are replacing traditional salons. But the real story? How this shift is changing the future of pet care forever.
Welcome back to the Built Local podcast. Today we have Glenn from Woofies of Space Coast. I was getting ahead of myself there. Glenn, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Clay. How about yourself?
Doing well. I'm excited to have you on. I know you've been a review harvest user for a while. You've been getting some great results. But for anybody who doesn't know who you are, tell us about yourself.
I say native because I've been here for 38 years, or close to that. Nobody's tracking. But so I have spent my entire career in leadership in some form or fashion, and learning and development. Last 14 years in the veterinary industry as the director of learning and development, so overseeing the function, and found myself displaced a couple of years ago. So I started exploring replacing that career and stumbled upon entrepreneurship, exploring franchising. So I had a really great experience with a coach that I spent about 3 months with. And he helped me identify some appropriate franchises, and Woofies kept shining above the others. So it was one of the ones I chose to invest in.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. If for somebody who doesn't know, what does Woofies do?
So Woofies has been in business since 2004. They started out by walking dogs. And they ultimately built up their business by adding mobile grooming so that they could be full service pet care. So pretty much everything but veterinary medicine. And so what we do today is replicated across more than 60 franchises. I was number 25 or 26. Okay. And so we do mobile pet grooming in our mobile salons, and then we also do dog walking and pet sitting. And of course, along with that, while people are away, we're taking care of anything in their home, like watering plants and making sure their home looks lived in.
Gotcha. Okay, that's really cool. Well, you mentioned something earlier about being with the coach and helping kind of decide, entrepreneurship, what route you were going to go. It's a question I get asked all the time, like, hey, should I start it on myself? Should I choose a franchise? And if I am going to choose a franchise, how do I decide which one? What are some of those decision-making frameworks that you went through to end up on Woofies?
Well, the thing that really helped me make the right decision is the process that I went through with a coach. He really spent time digging into what I'm truly passionate about, what are my values, my mission, what do I stand for? And so using that information along with my experience, my expertise, and my career, we landed on 4 different franchises. And I was seriously looking at another, but the model just wouldn't fit for this area. And so, once I stumbled upon Woofies, it was exactly the fit that I was looking for. Yeah. So that's, I would say that, especially at my stage in life, I think it's important to consider like how you're going to spend your time and look at the pros and cons of doing it yourself versus using somebody else's system that's already been established.
Yeah, for sure. If someone is like someone's listening to this right now and they're comparing multiple franchises, what are some things that you should tell people to look out for? If you don't mind sharing some details of like what would make the other franchise shine above all the other ones and make you go with that decision.
Well, for me, and I'll speak from that directive, it really was looking at what I'm passionate about and how my personal values and compass kind of fits within the organization. And so that's what made Woofies really just a standout, because it was closely aligned. And so, when they have the same vision that I have, and a big portion of that is giving back to my community in multiple ways. Woofies really fit that nicely.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And did they have the mobile dog grooming when you started, or was that added on after you started, or?
I want to say, don't quote me, but it was somewhere around 2010 or 2011 that they added mobile grooming. So they acquired a groomer up in the DC area, and incorporated that into their model.
Real quick, if you're a local business owner and you want to start getting customers from Google, you know how important Google reviews are. Every week, I talk to business owners just like you across hundreds of industries who know reviews matter, but never seem to have the time or the system in place to actually get them. That's exactly why I've spent the last 2 years building Review Harvest. We built it with a non-tech savvy business owner in mind, so anybody can set it up in minutes and start getting reviews today. It automates the process of getting real reviews from your customers, responding to those reviews, and repurposing them across your website and across your social media platforms. It's a set it and forget it software. You can get it all set up in about 10 minutes and you never have to worry about reviews again. We can integrate into the tools you're already using, so you don't have to change a thing. You don't have to train your team on how to request reviews. You don't have to request them manually. You get customers, we get your reviews. It's simple as that. And the first play in our playbook is what we call a review reactivation. You probably have hundreds or thousands of previous customers who loved your service but never left your review. So a lot of times our users can double or even triple their reviews just in the first couple months of working with us when we do that review reactivation. Gotcha. Okay, cool. And I'm curious, like, how much of y'all's business is pet sitting and walking and house sitting versus the mobile grooming side of things? Because I know that around here, at least, all the mobile groomers and grooming companies are like booked out. Because there have been times when I've like called and I've said, hey, and back in the day when I was like just getting into marketing, I've called groomers and been like, hey, I'd love to help you out with marketing or whatever. And they're like, we don't need marketing. You can't even get on our calendar this year. So is it still like that for y'all down there, or how are things, what's the split of the business there?
Well, I don't know what year you're talking about, and that would vary because when you look at how things have exponentially changed over the years. Remember, people used to keep pets in their backyard on a chain. And so that's changed dramatically. And I would say in the early 90s, it changed exponentially. People were doing more visits to the vet. They weren't just going in because the dog was sick. They were going in because, they needed preventative care, et cetera. And so I think COVID really escalated that. A bunch of people got pets, and so now there are more pets in homes than ever before. And so, I think that it's keeping up with that demand, right? And, I always tell people there's a lot of competition out there, and that's a healthy thing to have, because there's lots of pets. There are plenty to go around. And so what you have to do is shine above the rest. You have to offer something that really helps the pet family understand the value and the services that you're providing. And so I know you had an original question there, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much like what was the split between
the split.
The grooming and the pet sitting and all
that. So that varies throughout the year. If I were to average it for the year, I would say somewhere around 65% is mobile pet grooming. Naturally, that mix changes dramatically during holidays, et cetera. So I see peaks, May, July, and then of course, November and December in the pet sitting.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Well, take us back to day one when you're getting started with Woofies. Walk us through kind of like the first 6 months to a year. How did it go? Did things just pick up from the gun and you're just going off to the races, or was it slow and hard? Because I think if I were to survey our entire audience of like probably 5,000 people across all platforms and the email lists and everything, I would say the vast majority are probably in that first year to maybe 2 years of business, and they're trying to kind of get it off the ground. What was that like for you?
Yeah, well, the bonus of being with a franchise, depending on the franchise, of course,
Mm.
is the level of support they provide, and where they spend their marketing dollars.
Mm.
And as part of my agreement with Woofies, there were some things that we did early on, helping me with PR, for example, making sure that we were going to get some press releases for grand opening and for ribbon cutting. I was out there beating the streets right after I signed. And so there was a strong 3+ months that I was laying all the foundation before I even opened the doors. And so, I think another component of that is your position in the community. And I don't say any kind of hierarchical position. I think it's people have to like you.
Yeah.
And it's really getting out there and shaking hands and reigniting friendships, just getting people on your side so that they will start talking about your business and helping you.
Yeah.
And so that's where character comes in, right? Is when you got people stepping up to do whatever they can for you, it makes all the difference. And you see that, as soon as you start and you're seeing all your friends go in and like all of your posts or recommend you when people are looking for your services.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely we talked about it before on the podcast, but it's like one of the more underrated strategies is being kind of a local, what do they call like a local celebrity or a local legend or like a 5 mile celebrity where it's like, I'm not a celebrity in the world, but like most everybody around this 5 mile radius knows me. And that's really
Yep,
beneficial when you're starting a business,
that's right.
it turns every coffee date or every lunch or dinner to a marketing activity because you're saying hey, how are things, whatever, and everybody knows you, and so they know you, and they know your business. So that's really cool. Well, what's honestly the biggest misconception, or what's something you hear all the time from maybe customers who are looking to get into mobile grooming and they're like, hey, I want my dog groomed? What's something that like everybody asks you and you can just go ahead and answer it right now and we can get the clip for it?
Yeah. So I think that's hard to nail down to one thing, Clay.
Okay.
I think
You can do multiple.
yeah. One of the misconceptions that people have about mobile grooming is that the dogs will be lonely, that they should be around other dogs, because people that are accustomed to grooming, they're used to dropping their dogs off, and they stay multiple hours along with other pets, because they have a flow in a brick and mortar salon.
Yeah.
And so they have an advantage because they can, and this is not a term that I would necessarily use, production line them.
Yeah.
So some dogs can be drying while they're starting on other dogs, as an example. People often think that it's an easy task. You're just washing a dog and clipping its hair, right? It's much like sitting in the chair at your salon and your professional is just like cutting away and it's minutes and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But groomers face many different things, often related to behavior, and understanding that some things have to happen between grooms based on the breed. So if you have a doodle, for example, there are things that you need to do in between the grooms or shorten the length of time between the grooms. And so we try to educate our clients to make sure that they understand the things that would improve the groom, not only for the look and the cut, what they're looking for, but for the pet as well. Because a lot of pets, it's stressful. Certainly in the mobile salon, it's a much better environment for many pets. Some pets like networking with other dogs. A lot of pets don't, right? So with us, it's one-on-one. It's one pet and the groomer. And so in many cases, I hear all the time, my dog hates his nails being cut, or my dog hates being brushed. But that is the tension that the pet is feeling from the pet parent.
Yeah.
Because either they don't like it or they're afraid of it, or I hear it a lot with, especially nails. My dog's nails are black and I don't
Yeah.
know where to cut them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's every pet we have to assess and then determine what the behavior is like. And we could get in far into a groom and then we start cutting on the legs or on the face, and they aren't happy. They kind of freak out. Yeah. And so that takes extra time.
Yeah.
To make sure that we are providing the right level of care and patience with the pet, because we don't want to stress them out further, because we're going to need to see them again.
Yeah.
And so we want to help condition them to feel more confident in being with the groomer in the salon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and obviously, like you said, it's a lot less stressful for a lot of pets, but from just the busy that your average busy American, how convenient is it for somebody to show up to your house? I mean, like people, I hear it all the time. Like mom's like, oh, I got to load up the dog, and then I got to do errands, and I got to drop the dog off, and then I got to go do more errands because the dog's not done yet. And then, next thing you know, you spent a whole day getting the dog groomed. Right. And so how often, do people like choose their dogs? Like, hey, they're going to be a mobile groomer, or they're going to go to this groom. Like, do y'all have people that stay with y'all for years, or what kind of sets y'all apart from that kind of mobile versus, hey, I'm going to a brick and mortar spot?
I think it depends on the fit with the family. Some people are just accustomed to the experience that you were just talking about. Others have realized the value and the convenience of mobile. And matter of fact, once we've done a pet once, you don't have to be home. Everybody on my team is licensed, bonded, and insured because we pet sit as well. And so we're in homes all across the county all the time. And so that makes it even more convenient. The dog could be groomed at any time. I think that I'm going to add something to what I was saying before about like timing of the groom, because we had a 90-minute arrival window just because we don't know what we're going to be facing. While at a brick and mortar, you might drop the dog off at 7:00. You don't know the variability that they have. Because the dog is there waiting for them, versus us arriving to the client. And so that's where some of the other variabilities come into play.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think we talked about it earlier about how pets in the home and not, the pet outside on the chain with the stake in the ground and just hanging out. Pets in the home are more and more popular, and it's growing and growing. We're taking better care of these animals. And so with that, obviously, capitalist society, America, people get wind of that and like, oh, this pet industry is huge, right? So you say kind of competition's out there, and there's other people doing it, and it's a healthy thing. But what are some things that y'all do specifically to make sure you're staying, above the competition, or just, help yourself stick out to some of your customers that would choose you over anybody other options?
It's really the level of service that we provide. I think at some grooming salons, you'll have receptionists. I think about, like the PetSmarts and the Petcos. They've got people out front. And I've noticed that's changed a little bit in years recent, though, too. My team, whether they're a pet sitter, a dog walker, or a groomer, have the support of a back office team so that they can focus on the pets. And when situations arise or a schedule needs to be adjusted, my back office team is notified by the boots on the ground folks to say, hey, I'm running behind, or can you find out, I can't find the leash. It's not where it's supposed to be. And so that's when they'll connect with the client while the sitters and the groomers are focusing on the pet.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So it really comes down to customized care for every family. I consider us an extension of the family.
Wow.
And you would see that if you would have the opportunity to go through a consultation for pet sitting. We
Yeah.
gather all the information about the pet, the personality, what their daily routine is.
Mhm.
What times do they typically go outside? What times do they like to play? Do they swim in the pool? And then we collect other information about the home. Are
Mhm.
we shutting blinds, opening blinds, turning on lights?
Yeah.
Watering plants.
Yeah.
We're bringing in packages, taking out the trash, etc.
Yeah.
Um, I always say you're not going to clean the client's home, but leave it better than you found it.
Hey, real quick, before we get back to the video, if you're a local business owner and you're serious about getting more customers from Google, I want to invite you to our free school community linked down below. Inside, you'll get weekly coaching calls where I can personally help you one-on-one so you're never stuck wondering what to do next to get more customers. Once you join, we'll give you a custom-built ranking report to show you exactly how you're ranking against your competitors, and then we'll even show you the next couple things you can do to start ranking higher. We do all of these reports manually to make sure they're done right. You'll get our 50,000 Google review script, the same script we've used to help hundreds of businesses get over 50,000 reviews, showing you what to say, when to request the review, how to follow up and get that review without being annoying or awkward. And you'll even get a step-by-step checklist on how to optimize your Google Business profile to make sure you're ranking at the top of Google. Sometimes just making a few tweaks on that Google Business profile can be the difference between never showing up on Google and dominating your area. All in all, you'll get access to a community of business owners and experts trying to grow their business just like you. It's a safe space to ask questions and get more tailored one-on-one advice. It's 100% free. I don't have a coaching program or a course to sell you. Just click the link down below, join the community. We'd love to see you inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, that's awesome that you go into that much detail. The little kid down the street that is watching the pet. I don't think they're going into that much detail. That's a difference
Right.
between professional pet sitter and not. But one thing I want to touch on was did you always have amazing hair so you got into mobile pet grooming, or did you get into mobile pet grooming and then have amazing hair? Which way did it go there?
Funny you ask that. I've always gotten complimented on my hair.
Okay.
It's finding the right person to do it first
Okay.
off, right? Cut
Okay.
it correctly. And I just have a knack for styling,
Okay.
and always have. This is I going back to a personal situation about a year and a half ago. I decided that since I can grow my hair, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Many people my age would not be able to.
Yeah.
Or they'd be combing it over. No, like insult on that at all. Whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was going to cut it off a couple months ago, and I sat down in the chair, and my stylist said, "We are not cutting that off." And so here we are today.
Oh yeah, it's epic. You have amazing hair,
Thanks.
so that's awesome. And back on the regular scheduled programming here. Let's go into kind of the business side. So we talked a lot about kind of the customer experience side, some things that set y'all apart. But let's talk about the business side. What is kind of y'all's main lead or customer acquisition channel? Where are you getting most of your business nowadays?
The internet. It's Google. Everything is Google, right?
Wow, okay.
And so a good percentage of my business comes in just through organic searches.
Wow.
I haven't done a whole lot of Google advertising or anything like that. I have somebody also monitoring Facebook constantly. So we get some really great leads that way.
Okay.
But again, organic. And I would have to say a good percentage of it also comes from the events that we do. So we get out in the community. I do a pop-up, bring the mobile van, and look for ideal situations like pet events. We're doing one this weekend that's in support of coastal boxer rescue. I do Poocherella every year as well. I say every year. I've done it 2 years.
Yeah.
We're new. But it allows us to touch base with our client because they're coming to these events, they have a pet or they're looking for a pet. And so they're looking for trusted partners in their pet's care. And so I have my team there. We have a partnership with the Farmer's Dog, another quality brand. And so we're giving out samples of the Farmer's Dog. It's an extension of us. We're talking about Pet Vet Connection, which is a subscription service that you get a special deal through me on. And so you have access to a veterinarian 365, 24/7. And so they really start to see the value. And when they get to connect with the people caring for their pets, I think it makes all the difference. We get a lot of leads that way as well.
Yeah, for sure. No, I bet. I mean, it's the same way with so many industries. I mean, you can go and you can market, and the internet stuff is great because it's there and it's more passive-ish. People are typing it in or whatever. And obviously we do Google reviews, so we know how important that is. That's like what we do all the time. We help these local businesses do it. But you can go to these events, especially for business to business stuff. Like you can go to these events and you can make more connections with more people. It would take you a whole year to make a connection with in like 5 days or in a couple of days at some of these events, because you're just getting face to face, and that connection is so much stronger than sending them a DM on Facebook or something. But
yeah, I was
say
just going to
that
tell you a quick
Oh
story.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I recently sponsored the Halloween event at the Avenue of Vieira, is one of the more exclusive areas in our market. And everybody brings their pets, and there was a contest that was judged for costumes for pets. Okay. It was super cool. Yeah. It's one of my favorite events. It's so nice. It's in a shopping center. Okay. Yeah, I had 2 people during that event. It was only a 2-hour event, so odds are pretty good, right? They're like, I'm not really sure. I haven't heard really good things about pet sitting. Like when people come into my homes and they talk about, because their experience has been with the neighbor kid or a second or third cousin or whoever, right? Yeah. And so one of the things I always tell people is, we'll be your backup. If you're comfortable and confident with those people, great. That's fabulous. You trust them. Yeah. But let's book a consult so that they can call us in the event that one person can't make it. I have a whole team of people. So so that's where it really like connects with people as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And then you said as well that y'all are monitoring Facebook. Is that like monitoring like Facebook groups to see if anybody's like asking for recommendations, or are y'all like just doing posts and ads, or what are you doing on the Facebook side?
All the above. But one of the things that's been super helpful is making sure that we're responding to people that might be connecting with us based on a post or a reel or an ad. But then also scrubbing through all of the neighborhood groups and monitoring people asking for. There's a lot of people that'll just say, I need a pet sitter. And so those are the responses that we are capturing.
Gotcha. Okay, that's awesome. There are just a little side note here. You've probably looked into them. I used one for about 6 months. There was a tool where you could basically put in a link to a Facebook group, and then you could ask the tool to check for certain keywords like pet sitting or mobile grooming or whatever. And then if they did see one of those words in a post or a comment, then it would like text you or email you and tell you to go respond. So I forget what it's called, but I don't know if you've looked into those before. That might be beneficial.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'll check it out. Cool.
Well, I think you got started with Review Harvest a couple of months ago or so. Do you remember how many reviews you had before you got started with Review Harvest?
95.
Okay, 95 reviews. And how are things going today?
Amazing. So what have we been with you? A little over a month?
Yeah, September 16th.
Impressive. I ask my people to ask for reviews. Mm-hmm. It's on my invoice. I know people don't read that, but it's there.
Yeah.
And then we use Constant Contact as well. And so that's another channel where we're asking for reviews. We're asking when we connect with them, hey, if you're happy, give us a review. And so that's how we've gotten 95. Some just organically, which is great. But yeah, the jump has been really, really fantastic, like to see people engaging. And it's interesting. I was scanning through it today, and I saw somebody apologizing for not saying something sooner.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I had somebody on the podcast a couple weeks ago where they're like, they had just gotten set up with us and they ended up going to, I think it was church or a funeral or something. And he had two different people come up to him at church or wherever he was and say, I'm so sorry I haven't left you a review yet. I got your text. I did it right. I did it right away, And it's like funny because, they're like, he set up with Review Harvest. We did it all. And he's like, well, I did ask them for a review before and they didn't leave me a review the first time. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think I think the system that you're using is working, right? Because it's right there and it's easy to capture. They could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas, people intend to do it, but it's getting back to it. I've done that myself with businesses.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Cool. What would you say to somebody if they're considering working with Review Harvest? Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
Yeah, I would say just do it because it makes sense. I think capturing that feedback from your clients is so important. And when those non 5 stars come in, own it and really kind of process it with your team and make sure that you see it as an action item, something that you can solve for.
Yeah, for sure. And well, even though obviously, like we talked about off the podcast, a couple of those negative reviews might roll in, and they do add validity to all the, the other positive reviews there. But if you go look up Woofies, you still got a 5.0 rating. You're still, Google still says you're perfect. So, you're good to go there. You have all those reviews as a buffer now too.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And, I think just kind of touching back on even the 4 stars, right? Because you're like, ooh, what could have happened here?
Yeah.
It's just another opportunity to connect with that client.
Yeah.
Whether answering there and then thinking through, like I'll mark it in my CRM so that I can, I'll tag them to say, okay, this is where the rub was the last time. Yeah. And so let's make sure that we make any corrections that we need to. It's just a way to keep us sharp. So
yeah, for sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, what couple last closing thoughts here. What are some of your thoughts about the pet care industry, long term over the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see it just continuing to, go up into the right? I don't know which ways for the camera. Do you see it continuing to grow, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think I think it will continue to grow. I don't know that it'll continue to grow at the same rate.
Yeah.
Especially as pets age, they get more expensive. Pet care has become more expensive all around.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people's budgets are squeezed, then they have really, really difficult decisions to make.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of my friends too, who are like, I can't have another pet. It's just too hard to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So I think that the number of pets might go down, and more so than the number of people having pets, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. I never had experienced putting a pet down until my wife and I got married. We moved in. We adopted a cat from the local shelter. And like 4 or 5 months later, it had FIP. I don't know if you're familiar with FIP, but it had FIP. That was like 9 days. Average life expectancy is like 9 days after diagnosis. It was awful. It was so bad. We tried to go through all the options, and there's really not a lot of options for FIP at all.
Right.
It was like 7 months old, and it was still just less than 4 pounds. It was like not growing. What's going on? And so it was like it was a super hard decision that wrecked me. Even only being with the cat for a couple of months, like 4 or 5 months, like just long enough to kind of get attached to it,
Yeah. Well, they change our lives.
Yeah.
They change our lives. I always tell people, like, pets make families stronger.
Yeah.
And when you have stronger families, you have stronger neighborhoods as a result, and stronger communities, and they just make the world a better place. So
Yeah.
that's
For
why
sure.
I've been in the pet industry as long as I have been.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, all of Glenn's stuff will be linked down below. So we'll have Wolfie's website linked down below, and we'll have social media and stuff linked down below. So feel free to check them out. If you're in the area, you need mobile groomers, pet sitting. Any message for anybody listening to this, Glenn, you'd like to share?
No, I think I've pretty much covered everything. I just,
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that, well, I don't think. I know that the work that you guys are doing at Review Harvest has been like stellar. The customer experience matches mine with Woofies. So, and to me, that's like the highest compliment,
I appreciate
because nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you are providing a service and you're seeing it from end to end, and there's follow through and follow up and good communication, you guys are nailing it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Glenn. And anybody listening, like I think Carly's told me a little about, we struggle with the integration, making sure the right contacts are getting the review requests and all that sort of stuff. And I think what he's kind of saying there is that it wasn't perfect. We had things going on, and we're obviously not perfect. But I think when stuff did happen, I hope we did a good job, like he's saying, the communication and getting things fixed and making sure things are right. And so, yeah, I really, really appreciate that. We have lots of business owners watching this, and so I'm sure they got a lot from the business side of what y'all are doing, but then also learning a lot about mobile grooming. I know I love getting on these because I learn about the coolest industries all the time. So I get the knowledge of somebody who's been doing it for their whole life, but I just get to talk to them for 30 minutes. So
That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time. You have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thank you, Clay. Appreciate you.